Wealth is supposed to be a gift, a tool to create a life of comfort, to shield those we love from suffering. But what if instead, it builds the very prison that traps them? What if instead of offering a future, it seals their fate? This is the story of Charlotte and Vivian Blackwood, twin sisters bound by more than just blood. Born into a life of privilege, they were the light of their father's world, his golden daughters, the very embodiment of his success. When they married twin brothers, Edward and William, it seemed like destiny. Two perfect halves, forming two perfect pairs. And so, to celebrate their love, their father gifted them something grand. Two identical mansions, side by side on the shores of Palm Beach, Florida. Lavish, breathtaking, flawless in every way. But fate does not care for symmetry, and sometimes paradise can crumble into nightmare. This is the story behind the twin mansions of Palm Beach.
I was never a man who believed in curses. I built my fortune with my own two hands, brick by brick, deal by deal. I didn't inherit wealth, I created it. And with that wealth, I believed I could shape the future, bend the world to my will. I thought money could buy happiness, security, even fate itself. But I was wrong. God, I was wrong. It all began with a dream to give my twin daughters, Charlotte and Vivian, the perfect life. They were my greatest pride, my golden girls, as alike in spirit as they were in appearance. When they fell in love with another pair of twins, Edward and William Blackwood, I saw it as a miracle. Two perfect halves, finding their perfect matches. It was fate, wasn't it? So I built them the twin mansions of Palm Beach, identical in every way. Two grand Mediterranean estates standing side by side on the edge of the ocean. A wedding gift fit for queens. I spared no expense. The marble floors, the hand-carved staircases, the crystal chandeliers that caught the Florida sunlight like diamonds. Every room was a mirror of the other. Every detail painstakingly designed to reflect symmetry, to honor the bond my daughters shared. I thought I was giving them paradise. Instead, I built their tombs. It started subtly at first. Small things. Charlotte and Vivian would call me, their voices thick with unease. They told me they were hearing noises at night, whispers through the walls, footsteps in empty halls. They swore their reflections in the mirrors were delayed, that their own faces seemed unfamiliar. The air, they said, was always heavy, thick with something they couldn't name. They felt watched, scrutinized by unseen eyes. Their husbands, strong and rational men, dismissed it as nerves, as the stress of adjusting to their new lives. I, too, reassured them. A new home always takes time to feel like home, I told them. But then came the sickness. Vivian was the first to fall ill. Exhaustion, migraines, tremors in her hands. Then just days later, Charlotte developed the same symptoms. It wasn't long before Edward and William followed. Each day they grew weaker, their skin sallow, their eyes shadowed. Doctors came and went, baffled. Every test showed nothing. No disease, no toxin, no cause. Yet they withered before my eyes. They spoke of seeing things, strange figures lurking in the corners of their vision, reflections that didn't match their movements. They claimed the walls whispered to them. The chandeliers swayed without wind, their dreams filled with eerie laughter and voices that were not their own. Their laughter, once so full of life, turned hollow, brittle, like glass on the verge of shattering. Then came the inexplicable injuries. Vivian woke up one morning with deep bruises across her wrists, as if someone had grabbed her in the night. Charlotte found scratches down her arms, thin and precise, like the work of invisible claws. The husbands tried to protect them, staying up all night, searching the halls, but there was never anyone there. They stopped eating, stopped sleeping, stopped living. Days bled into weeks, and I watched my daughters and their husbands slip further away from me. They no longer left their homes. They refused visitors, barely spoke on the phone. When I did hear their voices, they sounded distant, detached, as if speaking from another world entirely. I begged them to leave. I offered to buy them another home, anywhere in the world, anywhere far from those cursed mansions. But they refused. "We can't leave," Charlotte whispered, eyes wide and haunted. "It won't let us." I didn't understand what she meant. Not then. The houses had claimed them. Then the phone calls stopped. The curtains remained drawn, shadows swallowing the mansions whole. No sounds, no movements, no signs of life. The silence was suffocating. When I arrived with the police, my gut churned with dread. I already knew what I would find. I already knew. The doors were not broken down. They opened on their own. The air inside was thick with decay and something worse, an unnatural stillness, an oppressive darkness. The chandeliers did not gleam. They loomed like silent sentinels of a terrible secret. And in the master bedrooms, in the very rooms where they had once promised each other forever, my daughters and their husbands from identical groups. Charlotte and Vivian wore their wedding dresses, pristine and white, swaying gently as if in a breeze that did not exist. Edward and William in their tuxedos, lifeless and stiff, as if trapped in some grotesque mockery of their wedding day. Their faces were peaceful. Their eyes were open. The world called it a coordinated I called it my failure. I was the architect of their I had built the walls that had closed in around them. My money had forged the very chains that had bound them to their fate. I thought I was giving them the world, but I had only given them a prison. I stood before the mansions, staring up at their grand facades. They were beautiful still, unmarred by time or tragedy. But to me, they were nothing but monuments to my hubris. So I ordered them to be torn down. The demolition was swift, violent. Stone and glass shattered, marble crumbled to dust. The twin mansions of Palm Beach fell, and with them, a piece of my soul. As I stood before the ruins, the ocean breeze whipping through the wreckage, I felt the first breath of peace I had known since their death. But then, just as I turned to leave, the wind carried a sound to me. A whisper, a giggle, two voices, identical. And I knew then that some things can never be buried, not even under the weight of a father's regret.